Hello again, and welcome back to the family cabin this time. It's been a while since I've done any filming up here, but haven't been doing anything very exciting. Well, while we were up camping, and there was a flood that came through Moon Lake while we were there, and that is just straight up that mountain behind me. Mirror Lake Highway is up over there, 10 miles or so, and then Moon Lake is even further. Well, this whole area, the whole mountain range, the Uinta Mountain Range, got hit pretty hard with storms. Between heavy rains and heavy winds, man, we had devastation up here. Several years ago, I did a video about all the bark beetle up here that killed all the trees, like that one. Killed over 100 trees. And the big old storm that just came through, we lost probably 30-40 trees that the wind knocked down. Just unbelievable. So I will walk you through. This is the road. Cousin Bill gave us a call while we were camping and said, I can't get down the road because there's two big trees on the road. And that's the road behind me. He spent all day by himself trying to clear a way in. Okay, this is the corner of the lot that I was talking about. This is the top of the one tree that fell right there on the fence. You can see the very tip of it is actually on the other side of the fence. Here's a section that was lying in the road that he was able to drag out. This section, he has cut all the branches and slash off and piled it. So Cousin Bill did a great job. And then you can see the rest of it that is still lying here that I've got to clean up. This tree here that fell is right on the corner of our property line. That one was dying, so not a great loss. I was planning on cutting it down this fall anyways, but now I've got a big root ball to deal with. This one, just unbelievable, a tree that large can just snap right off. It's one thing to tear them out at the roots, but to shatter it when it didn't have any bug or anything in it, just amazing. And these trees are crisscrossed all over on the lot. So there was a twister that came through here, extremely rare. I mean, we've had little microbursts come through and break tops of trees off, but never had anything like this. Again, here's the little bridge that I put in. Goes over the little creek. Here's one of the lodge poles that's shattered. Snapped that one right off. Does appear to have a little damage in it, so makes sense why that one would go. Just about to trim this up with the back for the chainsaw so that I can get through here with the backhoe. There's the backhoe. See, I've got a tree on the bucket, and this monster took it out at the roots. And then in the opposite direction, it took this one out at the roots. And so you can see the crisscross. So there definitely was a strange twister that came through here. You can see another tree down there, another tree down there, and then the one that goes over the backhoe. There's a tree across the river there. That wasn't there when I left. In the background there's another tree, and back over there's another, and I'll have to walk up into the upper lot and see just what more devastation there is. I can see one there next to that tree. That one snapped off about halfway up. That might be the one that's laying in the river. So to get my backhoe out, I've got to get rid of this tree. And again, you can see the backhoe on the other side. This one is lying on top of another tree going the other direction again. So strange to have them all crisscross this way and that way. I've never seen this before. Well, I'm going to see how far I can walk up in here, as well as check the backhoe. That tree there that the bucket is resting on had fallen and was across the river, and so I took a chain and dragged it up here. It was down there, so I dragged it up and was planning on cutting it up with my chainsaw before this all happened. I'm very fortunate. It looks like it did not bend anything. I was worried about that shaft being bent. I am going to have to get that, what's left of that tree, off the bucket before I can get the backhoe out of here. You see how very healthy green spruce it's down. In the background there, I'll zoom in on it, you can see another tree that we just snapped off. That's the one I pointed out there that was snapped off. You're probably wondering about all these cut up logs. The Forest Service came through here just a matter of a few weeks ago, and they cut down all my dead trees. When they do cut all these trees down and then cut them up, they buck them, and then they take all the slash and put them into burn piles. And then they come up in the winter and burn these piles, so it's pretty cool. They're going to be shocked when they come up and see this mess, because they thought they had left all this so nice, and you can't even hardly get through here now. These logs, 2 years ago the Forest Service came through and bucked up a lot of the dead trees, and they're all buried in here now too, with just more and more and more. Like I said earlier, there's over 100 trees in here that have been cut up and bucked, and now I've got probably another, I'm guessing 20, 30, maybe 40 trees that have toppled over in this last storm. Another one that's pulled up by the roots. Yeah, unbelievable. It's so hard to imagine a storm up here with all of these trees, that a little twister could come through and cause such havoc, when we just don't ever see this up here. There's another tree that is just shattered, snapped off. It's probably about 10-12 feet up. You can see more of the devastation here. Small tree there that's down, pulled out at the roots. I've got crisscrossing trees here again. A couple more green, healthy trees. You've got big root balls there. There's another one in the background, big root ball there. And what's crazy is sitting next to it, all that lumber, timber, that roof, that was a tree house that came down 2 years ago in a freak storm. And we were out here and it came down with a crash. It was pretty amazing. And now here we are again just a couple years later, and we've got another little microburst that came through. A couple more across the river. So as I do a panoramic view, as I just look around this lot, I'm standing about in the middle of the upper lot. This is 3/4 of an acre. I don't see any trees down anywhere outside the lot. It's like there was a little twister that just touched down right here, right across the road, and then just wiped everything out on this lot. See our cabin in the distance. That's on another 3/4 acres, so between the two there's an 1.5 acres. We didn't have any trees fall on the cabin lot, except one. All the rest were here on the upper lot. I was figuring 5 years ago, I was looking at this upper lot. I was seeing all the bark beetle that was killing so many trees. When I counted 100 trees, and I can usually cut down maybe a dozen trees a year. I figured I can't do all of this on my own. It was going to be just impossible for me to do it in my lifetime. And now with this many more trees falling, just so fortunate that the Forest Service, they brought in their hotshot crews and cut down all the dead stuff. They trim up a lot of the low branches off of these green trees so that they can mitigate the fire hazard. Yeah, like I say, hats off to them. It's just amazing job that they did in here. But now I've got more. The way the hotshot crew works, they get grants from the federal government, the local governments, to come up here and do what they can to mitigate any fire hazards, especially around all of these cabins. So we do a lot of work as homeowners, cabin owners, property owners, and if we keep track of all of our hours, they call them hours in kind. The amount of hours that we do here, if we log it all and we turn it into the Forest Service, they'll come out and do the same amount of hours and sometimes double. So they get grants, hundreds of thousands of dollars, to come up here and help us with these kinds of disasters, especially after the bark beetle, because there was so much here in the forest that had died from the bark beetle, and they're going up into, you know, the mountain range and clearing a lot of the trees that were killed by the bark beetle. Anyway, enough said. I babbled on enough. I've showed you the damage. Now I need to get to work. So I will start by getting my backhoe dug out of there and then clear the roadway so I can start moving a lot of this around, and then I can get out to the main road and move those great big monsters. They're lying. By the way, yeah, I don't recommend working in clothes like this. I just got a little chainsaw. I forgot to grab my big chainsaw and all of my safety gear. So this is all I'm going to do. I'm not doing anything else till I get all my gear. I want my hard hat, I want my face shield, I want long sleeves on, and I want my chaps. So I'm being really, really careful with this log, with all the slash that I got to trim off, but all of it was fairly small diameter, and I had a little saw and a lot of control and excellent footing. So yeah, if you do end up getting in a pinch and need to do something like this, just be really careful, and that's what I did. Alright, so I've got probably a day's worth of work to clean all this up. I'll stack all this slash, get it into some nice piles like the Forest Service guys did, with all these little piles that they did all over. And if I keep them somewhat here in the clearing, they'll just burn them for me come fall or early spring when there's still snow on the ground. So that makes it a lot easier to clean it all up, and those guys are professionals. They know what they're doing. They don't get controlled burns out of control. They've got hundreds of piles like this all around this area that they'll be coming up to burn in the winter months. So, all right, well, that's it. I got the backhoe out. That's what I was after. I've got a lot to do out front, and I need the backhoe to be able to move them great big heavy beasts around. All right, well, thanks for watching. Bugs. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you tuning in. Give me a like if you like what I'm doing. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks again. Goodbye for now.